I stood in front of a stranger's door on a Friday night, holding an envelope that would end 7 years of marriage. My hands were steady. My heart was calm. And somewhere inside that apartment, my wife was laughing with another man. 7 years ago, I stood in front of another door, the church door, watching Diana walk toward me in a white dress. I never imagined I would be standing at a different door about to close that chapter forever. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. What I did next changed everything, not just for her, but for me too. Let me take you back to where it all started. My name is Edgar, and I am 32 years old. I work as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas. Diana and I met at a coffee shop 9 years ago. She spilled her latte on my laptop, and instead of being angry, I asked for her number. That is how our story began. We dated for 2 years before I proposed, and we have been married for 7 years since then. I saved for 10 years to buy our house. It is a 3-bedroom home in a quiet neighborhood with a backyard where I always imagined our kids would play someday. Diana wanted to wait on children. She said she needed to focus on her career first, and I understood. She worked as a marketing manager at a large real estate company, and she was ambitious. I loved that about her. Our life together was good. At least I thought it was. Sunday mornings were my favorite. I would wake up early and make pancakes while Diana brewed coffee. We would sit at the kitchen table sometimes, not even talking, just enjoying the silence together. We took road trips to Big Bend National Park every summer, camping under the stars, and pretending the rest of the world did not exist. Diana used to leave little notes on the bathroom mirror for me every morning. Things like, "You are my favorite person," or "Cannot wait to see you tonight." Those notes made me smile every single day. When Diana got promoted about a year ago, I was her biggest supporter. I took her out to celebrate, bought her flowers, told everyone I knew how proud I was of her. She started working longer hours after that, and I did not mind. Success requires sacrifice, and I was willing to make that sacrifice with her. About 8 months ago, things started to shift. Diana began having more evening meetings. She would come home late, sometimes past 10 o'clock, saying she had client dinners or strategy sessions. I trusted her completely. Why would I not? She was my wife. She was my best friend. I had no reason to doubt her. One evening, I came home early because my project wrapped up ahead of schedule. The house was quiet, but I heard Diana's voice coming from our bedroom. She was on the phone, speaking in a low whisper, giggling in a way I had not heard in months. When I walked into the room, she ended the call immediately. Her face flushed red for just a second before she smiled and said it was just a coworker discussing a new project. I believed her. But something in her eyes was different that night. She did not look at me the way she usually did. She looked past me like her mind was somewhere else entirely. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more changes. Diana changed her phone password. When I asked why, she said it was for work security reasons. She started going to the gym in the evenings, but she never seemed tired or sweaty when she came home. She bought new clothes, new perfume, started paying more attention to her appearance than she had in years. And in our bedroom, the distance between us grew wider. She always had an excuse. She was tired. She had a headache. She had an early meeting. I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself that work stress changes people. I told myself that 7 years of marriage means you go through phases. I did not want to believe anything was wrong because believing it would mean my entire world was falling apart. Then came the Saturday morning that changed everything. Diana said she had to go to the office for an urgent project. She rushed out the door, and I noticed she left her iPad on the kitchen counter. I was not planning to look at it. I was just going to put it away. But then a notification popped up on the screen. It was an iMessage synced from her iPhone. The message was from someone saved as M in her contacts. It said, "Last night was incredible. I cannot stop thinking about you." My heart stopped. My hands trembled as I picked up the iPad. I scrolled through the messages, each one worse than the last. Love confessions, plans to meet at hotels, inside jokes that I did not understand. And then I saw the name attached to the number. Marcus. He was Diana's supervisor at work. She had mentioned him before, always casually, always professionally. Now I understood why. I did not confront her that day. Instead, I took screenshots of every message. I saved them to my phone and to a cloud drive. I needed time to think. I needed a plan. Because if I was going to lose my wife, I was not going to lose myself in the process. The first person I called was Kevin. He has been my best friend since our freshman year of college. We played basketball together, studied together, and stood as best men at each other's weddings. Kevin is now a divorce attorney, one of the best in Austin. When I told him what I found, he went silent for a long moment. "Edgar, I am so sorry," he finally said. "But if you want to protect yourself, you need to gather more evidence before you do anything. Texas courts can consider infidelity when dividing assets. The more proof you have, the stronger your case." I hated that this was my reality, but I followed his advice. I started paying closer attention to Diana's schedule. She still had location sharing enabled on her phone from years ago, when we used to track each other during road trips. She probably forgot it was on. I did not remind her. One Thursday night, Diana told me she had a late meeting at the office. I checked her location. She was not at the office. She was at a luxury apartment complex downtown in a building I had never heard of. I wrote down the address and did some research. The apartment belonged to Marcus. Every discovery felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks. But I kept quiet. I kept my face neutral when Diana came home. I kept playing the role of the trusting husband while my insides were being torn apart. One memory haunted me more than others. Last Christmas we hosted a party at our house. Marcus came. He shook my hand, complimented our home, and sat next to me while we watched football and drank beer. I thought he was a decent guy. Now I realized he was looking at my wife the entire time, planning how to take her from me. Kevin suggested I hire a private investigator to get concrete evidence. I agreed, even though it made me feel sick. 2 weeks later, the investigator delivered his report. There were photographs of Diana and Marcus entering hotels together. There was documentation of a weekend trip they took to San Antonio when Diana told me she had a work conference. There were timestamps, receipts, and videos. Everything was organized in a folder that felt heavier than its actual weight. I sat in my car on a side street and looked through the photos. I saw my wife, the woman I had loved for 9 years, holding hands with another man. I saw them kissing in a parking lot. I saw them laughing together like they did not have a care in the world. I cried. For the first time since this nightmare began, I let myself break down. I cried until my chest hurt, until I could not breathe, until there was nothing left. Then I wiped my face, started my car, and drove to Kevin's office. Kevin also uncovered something else during his investigation. Diana had been withdrawing money from our joint account for 6 months. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. In total, over $15,000 had disappeared. The money went to hotel stays, expensive restaurants, jewelry purchases, and trips I knew nothing about. "This is bad for her," Kevin said. "In Texas, this kind of behavior can significantly impact how assets are divided. Combined with the affair, you have a very strong case." I did not care about winning. I just wanted it to be over. But Kevin convinced me to do one more thing. He discovered that Diana's company had strict policies about relationships between supervisors and their direct reports. Marcus was Diana's boss. Their affair was a direct violation of company policy. If HR found out, both of them could lose their jobs. I stored that information away. I was not sure if I would use it, but I wanted the option. Finally, Kevin prepared the divorce papers. He included everything: the evidence of the affair, the documentation of the missing money, a request for the house which was in my name anyway, a fair but firm division of our remaining assets. "How do you want to serve her?" Kevin asked. I thought about it for a long time. I could have done it quietly. I could have left the papers on the kitchen table for her to find. I could have had them delivered to her office. But no. Diana had spent 8 months lying to me, sneaking around behind my back, making me feel crazy for noticing the distance between us. She did not deserve a quiet ending. I want to serve her at his apartment, I said. I want her to see my face when she realizes it is over. Kevin nodded. I will arrange for a process server to go with you. It needs to be official. That night I called my mother. Linda has always been my rock, the one person who never judged me, never doubted me. When I told her everything, she cried. But then her voice turned strong. You deserve so much better, son, she said. Do what you need to do, and know that I am proud of you for handling this with dignity. Her words gave me the strength I needed for what came next. The following Friday arrived faster than I expected. Diana left for her team building overnight, around 6 in the evening, kissing me on the cheek like she did every time she lied to me. I watched her car pull out of the driveway, and then I got ready. I put on the navy blue suit that Diana always said was her favorite. I wanted her to see me at my best when I delivered the news. I wanted her to remember this version of me, not the broken man she had turned me into. Jake, the process server Kevin arranged, met me at a coffee shop near Marcus's apartment. He was a tall guy in his 40s with a calm demeanor. He had done this hundreds of times. You sure you want to be there? He asked. Most people just let me handle it. I need to do this myself, I said. I need her to see me. We drove to the apartment complex separately. I parked my car and sat there for a few minutes looking up at the building. Apartment 1208, 12th floor. I wondered how many times Diana had made this same drive, how many times she had parked in this same lot, how many lies she had told to get here. I played our road trip playlist one last time. The songs we sang together on the way to Big Bend. The songs we danced to in our living room. The last song ended just as I opened my car door. It felt like the universe was telling me it was time. The elevator ride to the 12th floor was silent. Jake stood beside me holding his clipboard and official documents. My heart should have been pounding, but it was not. I felt nothing. Maybe I had already processed the pain. Maybe I was just numb. Either way, I was ready. We reached apartment 1208. I could hear music playing inside. Something soft and romantic. I heard Diana laugh, that same laugh I used to love, the laugh that now made my stomach turn. I heard glasses clinking like they were making a toast. I raised my hand and rang the doorbell. The music stopped. Footsteps approached. The door swung open. Marcus stood there in an unbuttoned dress shirt holding a glass of red wine. His face went from confusion to recognition to pure terror in about 2 seconds. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Behind him, Diana appeared. She was wearing a silk nightgown, something I had never seen before. Her hair was down, her makeup perfect. She looked beautiful, and it made me sick. Edgar. Her voice cracked. What? What are you doing here? She stepped backward, her face turning white. I could see her mind racing, trying to come up with an explanation. This is not what it looks like, she stammered. I almost laughed. After 8 months of lies, that was the best she could do. I stepped forward and handed her the envelope. Diana, you have been served. These are our divorce papers. She took the envelope with shaking hands, staring at it like it might explode. I know about everything, I continued. My voice was steady, controlled. The hotel rooms, San Antonio, the $15,000 you stole from our account. I know about all of it. Diana's legs buckled. She grabbed the doorframe to keep from falling. Edgar, please. Let me explain. I made a mistake. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. A mistake is forgetting our anniversary, I said. This was not a mistake. This was a choice. A choice you made every single day for 8 months. Every time you kissed me goodbye and drove here. Every time you told me you loved me while texting him. Every single day you chose this. Marcus finally found his voice. You need to leave, man. This is my home. I turned to face him. I will leave when I am done. And Marcus, you should know that copies of all this evidence are going to your company's HR department on Monday morning. I checked your employee handbook. Relationships between supervisors and direct reports are grounds for termination. The wine glass slipped from Marcus's hand and shattered on the floor. The color drained from his face. You cannot do that. You will ruin both of our careers. You ruined your own careers, I said. I am just making sure there are consequences. Diana fell to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. Edgar, I love you. I have always loved you. Please do not do this. Please give me another chance. I looked down at her, this woman I had built my entire life around. For a moment I saw the girl who spilled coffee on my laptop. The woman who said yes when I proposed. The partner who used to leave me notes on the bathroom mirror. But that woman was gone. Maybe she never really existed. If this is how you love someone, I said, I do not want to be loved by you anymore. I turned and walked away. Diana grabbed at my jacket, begging me to stop, to listen, to give her one more chance. I kept walking. Jake followed behind me, closing the apartment door on her cries. In the elevator, Jake shook his head slowly. That was the calmest serve I have ever witnessed. Most people yell, throw things, break down. You just stood there like a statue. I am tired of giving her my emotions, I said. She does not deserve them anymore. I drove home in complete silence. No music, no radio, no phone calls, just me and the empty road. Tears ran down my face, but I was not sad. I was relieved. The weight of 7 years of lies had finally been lifted from my shoulders. When I got home, I walked into our bedroom, pulled off my wedding ring and placed it in a drawer. I would never wear it again. The following Monday, I sent the evidence to the HR department at Diana's company, exactly as I promised. By Wednesday, both Diana and Marcus were terminated for violating company policy regarding supervisor and subordinate relationships. The news spread quickly through their industry. Diana's reputation was destroyed. I also learned something I did not know before. Marcus was married. He had a wife named Stephanie and 2 young children. When Stephanie found out about the affair, she filed for divorce immediately. Marcus lost his job, his marriage, and his family all in the same week. Diana tried to contact me constantly after that night. She called my phone dozens of times a day. She sent long emails begging for forgiveness, promising she would change, swearing it would never happen again. She showed up at my mother's house and knelt in front of her, crying and pleading for her to convince me to take Diana back. My mother looked at her and said simply, "You broke my son. Now live with the consequences." Diana eventually stopped calling. Through mutual friends, I heard she moved in with a college roommate because she could not afford her own place. She got a part-time job at a retail store since no one in her industry would hire her after the scandal. Marcus cut off all contact with her and was trying to reconcile with his wife. I wish I could say I felt satisfied hearing about Diana's downfall. But I did not. I did not feel happy. I did not feel vindicated. I just felt empty. The first month after filing for divorce was the hardest of my life. I could not sleep more than a few hours at a time. I would wake up at 3 in the morning reaching for Diana's side of the bed before remembering she was gone. I found old photographs of us in a closet, pictures from our wedding, our honeymoon, our trips to Big Bend. I sat on the floor and cried until the sun came up. Kevin stayed with me for a week during that time. He made sure I ate, made sure I showered, made sure I did not disappear into myself. He saved me without even knowing it. The turning point came on a random Tuesday morning. I woke up early and decided to go for a run. I had not exercised in months, but something pushed me out the door. I ran 5 miles without stopping. My lungs burned. My legs ached. But when I got back home, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. I felt alive. From that day forward, I started rebuilding. I went to the gym regularly. I learned to cook new recipes, things Diana never wanted to try because she was picky. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during my marriage. And I started seeing a therapist to work through the trauma and betrayal. Therapy taught me something important. The affair was not my fault. I did not drive Diana into another man's arms. She made that choice on her own. I spent years trying to be the perfect husband, and she still chose to betray me. That was a reflection of her character, not mine. I also learned to forgive. Not for Diana's sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I did not want to carry that weight anymore. So I let it go. I did not forgive what Diana did, but I forgave myself for not seeing it sooner. I forgave myself for trusting too much, for loving too hard, for believing in someone who did not deserve it. 1 year later, my life looks completely different. The divorce was finalized 6 months ago. I kept the house as the judge ruled in my favor given the evidence of Diana's affair and financial misconduct. I got promoted at work to a senior engineer position. And I started dating again slowly and carefully, just to prove to myself that my heart can still open. Last month, Kevin told me Diana sent a handwritten letter to his office. She asked him to pass it to me. In the letter, she did not ask to reconcile. She just asked for forgiveness. She said she needed to hear that I did not hate her so she could move on with her life. I never responded. Not because I hate her, but because I have nothing left to say. I do not hate Diana anymore. I do not love her either. I feel nothing toward her at all. And that nothing, that complete absence of emotion, is the most peaceful feeling I have ever experienced. If you are going through something similar right now, I want you to know something. The pain you are feeling is real, and it is valid. But it will not last forever. The nights will get easier. The mornings will get brighter. And one day you will wake up and realize you have not thought about them in weeks. The strength you build from walking through betrayal stays with you for the rest of your life. It becomes part of who you are. And eventually you will look back and realize that the worst thing that ever happened to you was also the thing that set you free. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to let go of someone who refuses to hold on to you. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing yourself. And you deserve to be chosen. I have a question for you before I go. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because they did not love you the same way? How did you find the strength to move forward? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who is struggling right now. If this story touched you in any way, please hit the like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future stories. And remember, no matter what you are going through, you are not alone. Thank you for listening to my story. I wish you peace, healing, and the courage to choose yourself always.